rapt attention to hanging on my every word as I dispense the tech
as I usually do
knowledge about what's going on. All right, we should be live right about now. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Awesome Hardware.
I did.
You too.
My hair was getting cut off. Yep.
This is a live tech show that Kyle and I stream every Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We stream it live to twitch.tv/awesomehardware. We also stream each half to each of our individual channels. And this is the first half of episode 113. So we're streaming to my channel, Paul's Hardware. Second half will be on Kyle's channel in about an hour on Bitwit. And thanks to all you guys who are watching us live, whether you're watching on Twitch or watching YouTube live. Bear in mind, during this show, not only do we talk about technology, we also drink a beer or two. Occasionally, we do curse or use foul language. So, case in point right there, you have been warned. Sorry about that if you're not into that kind of thing. But we like to just, kind of go with the flow here, speak our minds. Speaking of which, let's do the regular things that we always do at the beginning of every episode, which is to talk about our stores. If you'd like to help support our channels and get yourself some merch, check out our stores. PaulsHardware.net is mine. I have shirts like these and mugs, pint glasses. Look at these polos.
Them polos.
That's a polo shirt right there. If you buy stuff during the show, either from my store or Kyle's store, bitwit.tech/store, we'll give you a little shout out at the end. And if you order from both of our stores, you get your stuff shipped together, and you will get a refund for part of your shipping.
And if you order from neither of our stores, you get nothing.
That's true.
We'll just stare at you disappointedly.
So that's a great way to get yourself a fat load of jack squat. Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
But anyway, that's about all we do at the beginning of the show. Letting things spin up. We're spinning up the show right now.
Like a hard drive.
We're letting people tune. I need to not accidentally hit that keyboard with my hand. All right. So anyway, let's. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't set up the lower thirds. Actually, most of them are still here. That's good. That's good. That's planning ahead.
Oh, we're getting a message from Cell. Uh-oh. That means something's...
Did something go wrong?
Yes. Oh, no. Is audio not coming through?
Audio's low.
Oh, it's super quiet. Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll address it right now.
We're professionals.
And fix the Twitch title. Yeah, I know. I know. Dude, it's only our 113th episode.
We have this all down.
Give us a break.
We have it all down pat.
In your defense, okay. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Bye. Love you.
Oh,
I love you.
We're streaming at 60 frames per second, too. Why are we streaming at 60 FPS?
Because...
It's alright. It doesn't matter. How do we turn the volume up? What is the volume changed?
I think we could just use the knobs on the
soundboard, right? You turn the knobs, the volume goes up.
Yep.
That's the basic.
That's how it works. So I'm gonna crank it up a little bit.
Thank you, Cell, for the phone call.
Just needs a tiny little.
In case you're wondering, that was Cell processing. He is our awesome friend and moderator, and he also tells us when things are going wrong. So hopefully that made things louder.
We should create a word to indicate someone who's a friend. Oh wow, okay. These dials are very sensitive.
Too loud. This is clipping apparently.
How about now? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check check. Mic check. Should be better now.
Is that better?
It should be good. It should be perfect.
Right.
There should be zero.
I saw two people. I saw two people say it's perfect.
Good.
A few other people say good. Thank you.
Much better.
Thank you all so much for your feedback.
Woo!
All right.
I'm glad I clapped when
good. Yeah,
the levels were right.
For anyone whose ears weren't bleeding already. All right.
Still clipping?
Wow, it's funny because YouTube is like a good 30 seconds to a minute behind Twitch, I think. So YouTube is only just now getting their ears destroyed.
If only someone from the future could have warned them in time.
Thank you, Twitch. Twitch, hurry, go to YouTube now.
It's too late.
Tell them that they're about to die. All right, cool. Anyway, guys, let's move into the actual show.
People are saying it's still clipping.
It's still clipping?
Still clipping.
Sound floor is very noisy.
It's like, seriously, how sensitive these dials are. It's like, you barely, you don't even see it.
They must have gotten bumped.
I actually don't even see it move. They're super sensitive.
I said it's your fault, Kyle. You're talking too loud.
Alright, I'll just be a quieter person. I can't do that. I can't turn me off, unfortunately.
Okay, well, we're going to proceed. I'm drinking Karl Strauss Red Trolley Ale.
Yep.
Right now.
It's good stuff.
Provided by Kyle. And Kyle's drinking Newcastle?
Yeah. Newcastle.
Good old Nuki.
It's a classic.
All right. Sweet.
Let's see. People are saying... most people aren't complaining
Sounds
anymore.
better on Twitch than on YouTube. It should be the exact same... I don't know what YouTube does with audio processing. All right.
Interesting.
Let's get my notes back on the screen.
Get them notes on.
This is Tech of the Day After Tomorrow, but it actually isn't. So wait, I bet I can change. We're doing everything on the fly for today's show, so
that's how we roll. That's how we do.
There we go. Tech of the Day After Tomorrow. Technology that's not out yet. That's the basic idea here.
Yep.
All right. Videocards.com has an article here about Intel preparing multiple 6-core Coffee Lake CPUs. And these 6-core CPUs are not just of the i7 variety, but also the i5. Very interesting. So this is actually originally from Canard PC, which is a French language website, which I believe is French-Canadian. Video Cards has it written up here in good old English. But basically they're saying in a few months, that's vague, but soon, Intel will introduce new 6-core processors based on Coffee Lake architecture. There's going to be, according to this rumor, an i7 8700K with a 3.7 gigahertz base clock. None of the articles list any boost clocks yet, so that's probably something that if this is true at all, which we're not sure about because it's a rumor, the Intel probably hasn't dispensed with that information yet. But 3.7 gigahertz base with hyperthreading, and it's a 6-core processor, so 6 cores, 12 threads, with a 95-watt TDP, which is significantly less than their current 6-core offering with the 7800X.
That's not a direct response to Ryzen. I don't know what is.
Well, certainly them launching it sooner rather than later would be, for sure. But yeah, that too, them finally doing 6-core on the mainstream platform.
And lower TDP.
Yeah, lower TDP. Well, the TDP is technically up from their mainstream, because their mainstream used to be like 77 watt with was that Haswell? Was Haswell 77? I don't know. I don't recall all the TDPs, remember. But I know it's gone up a little bit, at least when it comes to the high end SKUs, the high end unlocked.
So I guess maybe performance per watt, you could say.
Yeah. Well, and especially there's 2 more cores in there, so I mean that certainly also adds to the heat output. All right, there's also an i7 8700 non-K version with a 3.2 gigahertz base clock, but obviously both of these would have an impact on people who were considering something like a 7800X, which is a 140 watt TDP, and that's an X299 LGA 2066 CPU, and those motherboards cost a lot more and everything, so possibly something to consider as well if you were thinking about something like a 7800X. And of course this would compete with AMD's Ryzen 7 lineup, but over there, at this level, they have 8-core versions. So, yeah, the 1800X and 1700X are 95-watt TDP parts, and they're both 8-core, 16-thread. And then they dropped to 65-watt with the 8-core, 16-thread 1700. Anyway, though, there's also an i5 8600K. That is also 6 cores, but without hyperthreading, as the i5s usually are. So 6 core, 6 thread, 8600K, 3.6 gigahertz base clock, also a 95-watt TDP on that one. But hey, cool, 6 core i5. Would have never thought we would have seen the day.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, you used to be you had to be on the enthusiast platform to get that kind of thing. There weren't just those 6-core CPUs, though. There's also the slowest, according to the article, 6-core, which is the Core i5 8400. That's a 2.8 gigahertz base clock, 65-watt TDP, and that would compete with 65-watt Ryzen 5s. The i5 8400.
Ryzen 5 still has that SMT, though.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that is nice. So maybe it'll be interesting to see how that does in games.
At that level, you do get more threads. I mean, I would have to imagine if this is a third iteration of their 14 nanometer architecture. They're staying on 14 nanometer as far as I know with Coffee Lake.
It's like plus, right? The 14 nanometer plus or something like that.
But if they can squeeze a little bit more multi-core, multi-threaded performance by going 6-core, but they still have that edge when it comes to like top-end gaming performance, then they might have an argument. But it all comes down to how it's priced.
Right.
I mean, that's where Intel's getting slammed right now when it comes to like X299 and the i9 stuff. It's just it's so expensive compared to AMD stuff. If Intel had brought in their prices and made them more competitive, then people will probably not be giving them quite as hard of a time. Of course, there's other issues with the platform as well.
Right.
But let's move on for that. Also in this article, there's a couple other mentions from that Canard PC article. Talk of a pure mobile coffeelake mobile 6-core CPU that will be about 2.0 gigahertz with a 45-watt TDP, and also a coffeelake U quad-core with a 28-watt TDP for low-power notebooks. So that's stuff too. All right.
Go mobile.
Next up, a PC Perspective article. Also in the rumor category, but kind of interesting how this information came out. The rumor is that Intel is going to be launching a quad-core Kaby Lake R CPU or a few Kaby Lake R CPUs for ultra portables, such as the Acer Swift 3 here, which I believe is where this information actually came from. It was a listing for an unannounced revision of the Acer Swift 3 notebook that had the CPU in question listed as the CPU in there. It had a few other updates for this revision, a new Pascal-based NVIDIA MX150 GPU. That's already known, though. That was announced just before Computex. But down here, the i5-8250U processor is Kaby Lake R. That has not been announced by Intel. The description here says it's quad-core, and based on this, the good folks over at PC Perspective went and did a little bit more research. This article is actually by Ken Addison, so I can't make any Ryan Shrout puns. But anyway, based on the knowledge that the description says it's a quad-core, they said following Intel's history with the U-series parts, the 8250U would traditionally be a 15-watt dual-core CPU with hyper-threading enabled, because the true quad-core parts are usually a higher TDP. Now, the article we just talked about was Coffee Lake, coming in at different lower TDP options. But this article also addresses that. They said they think it's different. So this is kind of a weird overlap again, where you have like a new Kaby Lake product coming out with Coffee Lake also potentially on the horizon in the next few months, which also should theoretically have low power options that would be competitive with something like this. But they also went and looked up the processor SKU once they found it, the 8250U, in the Geekbench database, and they found other notebook manufacturers had already tested this and uploaded results. So they're expecting refreshed versions of the Dell XPS 13 and the Asus ZenBook UX490 featuring this processor. And the benchmark results in Geekbench they pulled up showed a 54% increase in multi-threaded CPU performance and about a 7% increase in single-threaded performance. The multi-threaded performance increase would make sense since you're increasing the core count.
So it seems to have hyper-threading as well, just based on
that's what they're saying.
Okay, well that's cool. It would have been kind of more ambiguous had they went to true quad-core and disabled hyper-threading for some reason, but that's nice that get to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, so
it's kind of cool.
I mean, obviously this is in the rumor category, so there's still stuff that's not known about that, and it's information that they pulled up from other databases and early product listings and stuff. So
does the R does Kaby like does the R represent mobile? Is that what the R means?
Intel has the different letters that they put at the end for like different sets that are meant for like different use cases. So like this is for like ultra portable notebooks, so it's not quite as I mean they've had like 15-watt TDP processors in these types of products in the past, so very low power, should have really long battery life, good for web browsing in a small, inexpensive device or something like that.
Yeah.
But
they're just trying to segment it from their high-end stuff. They're more mainstream desktop parts, I guess.
Yeah. So the R, but the R would indicate like potentially a new stack of products in that category. But Anyway, all right, one more article in this segment. This was actually launched this information became known about 4 or 5 days ago. But AMD Ryzen Threadripper has now been confirmed even more. So this is confirmation, but there is a rumor that's sort of woven in here as well. This is a PC Gamer article by Gordon Ung, and this is based on AMD's announcements last week. They also launched a video on it. 2 processors that they have confirmed: the Threadripper 1950X, which is a 16-core, 32-thread, 3.4 GHz base clock, 4 GHz boost clock, $1,000 processor.
Yeah.
For $1,000, AMD's giving you 16 cores and 32 threads. Also 64 PCI Express Gen 3 lanes, so that's cool too. Also a second processor, a 12-core 24-thread Threadripper 1920X. This one has a 3.5 GHz base clock and a 4 GHz boost clock, so lower core count means that it can run more of those cores at a higher frequency, so hence the slightly higher base. $800 price tag on this one. So yeah, both of them have 64 PCI Express lanes available, 180 watt TDP, so these are going to require a pretty significant amount of cooling. It's not quite as bad as like the 220 watt TDP stuff, like the 9590, that kind of thing that they had, that kind of required something like an an all-in-one liquid cooler or really high-end air cooler. But they also both have quad-channel DDR4, and they're going to, of course, be supported by X299 chipset motherboards with the big old TR4 socket. There will be pre-orders. Here's a look at the socket, by the way.
So many dies, so little time.
There we go. And there it is.
Look at that. Thing is a beast.
Okay.
I was blown away by how big it was just seeing it in person at Computex. I was like, that's like the span of my hand. No, maybe not that big, but
yeah, it's
definitely
huge.
the biggest socket I've ever seen in person.
It has, how many pins? LGA 4094 is the pin count there, so that's...
Twice the size of a mainstream
crazy
socket. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had to make it that big because they are putting like 4 individual Ryzen cores, so each with 8... well, each with actually half of their cores enabled, so you get 4 times 4 to be 16. And then it's it's the same layout that they're using for Epic, and Epic will have 4 Ryzen cores with all of the cores enabled, giving 32-core 64-thread processors. All right. A couple more details about this. Select pre-orders. Excuse me. Select pre-orders will be starting on July 27th. Alienware is the major manufacturer or big box maker of computers who will have them. Also, there'll be some boutique builders who will be providing pre-orders on July 27th. CPU motherboards will be on shelves in early August, and it's going to support up to 1 terabyte of memory when but that's when you use LR DIMMs or load reduced DIMMs. Otherwise, I think it supports half of that if you're not using LR DIMMs. Intel's 16-core i9-7960X is supposed to be $1,700 by comparison. So $1,700 for 16 cores versus $1,000 for 16 cores. Intel's 12-core i9-7920X is supposed to be $1,200. $1,200 versus $800 for the 12-core version. Also, at least according to what AMD has said, neither of these products have launched yet. Intel has launched X299 as a platform, but their higher core count, 12 cores and up CPUs, aren't out yet, and we still don't know when they're going to be out. It's not if AMD launches these when they say they are, they might have their 12 and 16 core high-end desktop CPUs out there before Intel does. There's some tests in the article, linked in the description as all the articles are, by the way, if you guys want to check out a little bit more details. But AMD's test with the 12-core Threadripper 1920X, it beat the 10-core 7900X with a Cinebench R15 score of 2,431 to 2,167. Then they also ran Cinebench on the 16-core Threadripper 1950X, and it scored 3,062. So that's cool. There's no word yet on other core count versions, so like 14-core, 10-core, for example. We're not sure if that's going to be a thing at all. And the last thing about this is that due to the immense size and we imagine higher TDP of these Threadripper CPUs, it is rumored, this is the rumor bit of this, that they are going to ship with liquid all-in-one cooling solutions. So that we don't know if that's going to be included with the $1,000 or $800 price tag. Or what? Or
you'll pay a premium to get that included. We don't know
or
yet.
if there's going to be a special kit or something like that.
Right.
But this is the actual video that AMD posted, by the way, if you guys haven't already seen it. But here, for example, is a screenshot from the Sweet Clockers YouTube channel showing, I believe this is Noctua, showing their cooler that they designed. The one on the left is the TR4 socket. So you can see the size of the contact plate for that compared to a standard AM4 socket for Ryzen on the right side. So there's potential questions when it comes to conflict with PCIe slots.
It's wider than the heatsink.
Yeah, it is. It's wider than the actual heatsink, so it is massive. And I don't know if there's any additional trickery that needs to go on, because instead of dealing with a centralized, CPU die like you are on a traditional CPU, you're dealing with CPU dies that are spread out across the substrate.
I wonder if that'll change, draft up any new thermal paste application methods. I imagine the best way to apply thermal paste specifically for Threadripper, if it actually makes a difference because of the layout.
Potentially, yes, because you're gonna want to have spread. Like if it's like usually it's like, all right, if you have enough spread to cover the die that's at the middle, you're right. Now it's like, well, you've got 4 dies that are spread out. Even if it spreads from the middle, you might have corners of those edge ones that doesn't have the paste spread over it or whatever. And obviously, you're gonna need to use more of it as well.
Quad P method. Maybe you do 4 Ps.
Yeah, 1 P over each.
Over each die.
Yeah, or just go back to the old paintbrush.
Yeah, you can do that too.
So there's some CPU thermal paste that used to ship with like a like
a pad or something.
Eye polish or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Not eye polish. Eyeshadow.
Eyeshadow.
Not even eyeshadow. What is this?
I don't know anything. You know
where it's got the knob in it. It's got the brush attached.
Mascara. I think.
What are those?
Heather, wifey's on.
Get your wife in here.
We're out of our element suddenly.
All right.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm saying, right?
Wax on, wax off type of thing.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So cool. There it is. And so endeth Tech of the Day After Tomorrow. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Next up, we're bringing back Say It Ain't So. Yes, we are. Say It Ain't So. It was such a popular segment.
Yep.
So these are all terrible stories, or things that have gone wrong, or things that didn't turn out how they would appear, I guess.
You're a big Debbie Downer, Paul.
I'm broadening the...
You're stick in the mud.
I'm broadening the definition of this segment so I can bring more into it. Alright, so this popped up on Reddit today. You guys may have seen it. There appears to be people having issues contacting emergency numbers with their OnePlus 5 phones. This is the original post on Reddit. This guy had to dial 911 on his OnePlus 5 yesterday because he saw a building on fire a few blocks away. Both times the phone rebooted on him. He posted this Facebook video, which I will now play back for you guys. Can I make it bigger?
He's a Bulls fan.
Apparently he's a Bulls fan. No, not a Bulls fan. That's the University of Texas. That's Longhorns. Longhorns, Kyle.
Shows you how much I know about sports.
All right, so he's dialing 911 right now. It goes to dial the emergency number. I don't have audio on, but it never actually rings. And then if you watch here in just a moment,
SOS
dialing,
and it just shuts off.
And the phone shuts down. And the phone
only with emergency numbers, restarts.
But apparently only with emergency numbers.
The one number that you really need, you need that line to connect. When you really need to make a call.
It's like the most
we'll only shut your phone off when
also,
it's a life or death situation.
I know there's also like government requirements that a phone has to be able to call 911. Like
it seems like it should be.
I don't know the details on that specifically, but Gizmodo did pick this up. And apparently there's a little bit more going on in the Reddit thread, and some people have done a little bit more researching. Don't try this at home, by the way, if you have a OnePlus 5.
Yeah, don't call 911.
Don't just go trying to call 911 or your emergency number.
You'll get fined.
Apparently there's also a user in the UK who reported the same thing, although they have a different number. It's not 911 over there. It's some other... It's like 911 with an English accent. But yeah, they have the dude's video up there and stuff. OnePlus told Gizmodo that they are working with customers individually to solve the issue, but did not provide any further details on the bug. Gizmodo confirmed 3 reports of this going on, and 999 apparently we're hearing from our UK viewers, or people who just know. There's also a 411 is information here in the US.
6969. That
69.
Sounds legit.
Right.
Hashtag 420.
And of course,
Pound 420 to save a life.
Pound it. All right. So yeah, if you've got a OnePlus 5, I would keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
And see what happens. Because like I said, this is from today, so I don't have any further follow-up information on what OnePlus has to say about that.
There's got to be...
it's more widespread.
There's a great, like, sketch in here somewhere where, like, two guys are on their phones and one guy's, like... one guy's Galaxy 7 Note, or was it the 7 Note, blows up, and then 7. The guy with the OnePlus 5 tries to call 911 and he can't.
You're right. You're right, and you just told everyone about it. And
I know.
Now they have the
You guys can have that one for free.
Someone make that.
Please.
That could be a Vine, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, Windows 7 blew up. Oh no, let me use OnePlus 5 to call 911.
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Okay. Beautiful. Moving on, though. PC Gamer article. Apparently, some Amazon purchasers of Ryzen CPUs have not received actual Ryzen CPUs. Does that look like a Ryzen CPU in the box?
No. You can just tell from the heat spreader.
Yeah, so at least 2 users, according to this article, have reported receiving an Intel Celeron processor masquerading as an AMD Ryzen 7 1700. So obviously you guys watch our channels and you're smart people, and just looking at this CPU would be like, that is an LGA processor. That is obviously not a Ryzen 7 or whatever it's purporting to be. It's supposed to be a Ryzen 7 1700, which you can kind of see up there at the top. Originally reported by Reddit user Shooter999. And like I said, 2 confirmed users according to the PC Gamer article. There appears to be some level of sophistication to this, as the screened-on Ryzen logo looks... I mean, if that's all you're looking at, looks somewhat legit. Here's another
yeah, if
user.
you don't know any better, if you're a novice builder or something like that, it could slip by you.
And... again, this is one of those things that's only been reported in the past few days, and there's not a whole lot of follow-up on it yet. We don't know if this is something that's any more widespread. It does seem like something a little bit more sophisticated, but who knows? I believe WCCF Tech reported on this as well. The article references, I actually read both of their articles on it. WCCF Tech said that 2 of the fake chips appearing in the wild in a short span is indicative of a well-organized mass RMA fraud seeping through the cracks. Which is... who knows? You know, maybe it could be. God damn it.
It's very dramatic. It's a very serious situation.
That is very dramatic, but yeah. What this appears to be is RMA fraud, which means that the people who are committing the fraud bought real CPUs from Amazon, took the CPUs to resell or use or whatever, took their fake CPUs, put them back in the box, returned that to Amazon, probably for a refund. Amazon took the return back. Amazon's return people didn't recognize that CPU wasn't real, gave out the refund, and then put that returned CPU back into their inventory and sold it again. So, again, not sure how this is going to happen.
I wonder, like, if... I mean, now that it's out, like, aren't those people kind of busted? Like, Amazon, I feel like, could easily track it back to them and revoke the refund, and just they have their
you always use, like, burner accounts for that kind of thing.
True.
You know, you got to make sure that it's not...
can't be traced back to
you get some address that you know you can go and pick up packages from or something like that. But,
right.
I mean, unless they're stupid, you never know. Yeah. But I feel like if you're smart enough to put together something like that, then you'd probably be somewhat more intelligent about how you make the orders or whatever.
I feel bad for anyone trying to install that fake Ryzen processor, not knowing any better, and just ruining their motherboard.
Oh yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, like you can
royally screw up some hardware. I mean,
maybe. I mean, I guess
if you're putting it in an AM4 board,
if you got an AM4 board,
bad,
it'd be less of a chance of destroying something.
True.
But you could probably. I mean, you could still. Why don't the lever go down onto it? Or just
where are all the pins?
Everyone said building computers was easy. I just have no idea.
I know.
This
is going to screw up some people for life.
Yeah.
Put a bad taste in their mouth for sure.
I don't know if you guys remember, but this was back in 2010. There was a Newegg fake CPU that Newegg was selling. Not like intentionally or anything like that, but it was a bit of a scandal because
this is before I got there, right?
Yeah, this is what was actually in the box. They were supposed to be i7 920s, and what people actually got was something like this. So they sort of did some kind of mold and filled it up to get stuff that looked vaguely like what it was supposed to.
Was it so? This was a reseller on Marketplace.
So this was actually product that was sold to Newegg by D&H. This is from an article, by the way. This isn't my inside information. Oh no, why isn't this plugged in?
Your battery's very low.
Oh, I never actually plugged that in. Hold on. Hal, keep
His
telling
power
the
cord is just straight up just lying on the floor, like the plug's not even plugged. I was like, I know that power strip's on, because otherwise our streaming piece, we wouldn't be streaming right now.
That should help. Okay.
Thank God for those little notifications that tell you that your system's about to die.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Windows.
Would have been inconvenient. Alright, anyway, yeah, so like 300 of these got sold to Newegg, and they were actually went into inventory and started being sold to people, and people started getting them. And then Newegg had to go and investigate and figure out where it all happened, and they all traced this back to the single order. And yeah, that was a bit more of a gray market, like counterfeiter who somewhat knows, probably has some inside information about the industry to get that through and actually sell them or whatever. But yeah, those CPU coolers still go for a lot of money though. Those are hard to find. These guys.
Yeah.
The foam.
It looks so weird.
Yeah, that's funny. All right. Next up, there's a security robot. It's called a Nightscope K5, and today it committed suicide.
Yeah, it doesn't look so great.
Dove into a fountain.
Aww.
Here it is.
On its own accord.
Yeah. The Nightscope K5 is a 5-foot-tall, 300-pound security guard. We've actually briefly mentioned. I think we've shown this on the show before. They're in service, and apparently this DC office bought one, and then it promptly committed suicide by diving into the fountain. Did not want to live anymore.
Are you sure it didn't work at Foxconn or something? Like this isn't like
potentially.
It seems like
I wanted to click this link.
This mistreated.
This is a mall security. Like there's an image of one. Yeah, this one knocked over a toddler. Right.
What?
So maybe it was the same one. Felt so bad for that incident.
Couldn't handle the guilt.
Couldn't live with himself, and finally just decided
to off himself.
Gonna dive into the to the fountain. That's a random story.
I have nothing to live for. Jumps in the water.
Oh yeah, I was supposed. It's all right. We'll do this one too. All right, this one's actually kind of lame, but it's about Windows 10, so that's why.
Oh, that was the end of the story. Okay.
There wasn't much more about the DC security robot. It just committed suicide. So
rest in peace.
RIP. Yeah. All right. So Windows 10 support could end early on some systems, depending on what actual internal hardware that system uses. This is the best picture we have to show you on this story. So if you guys aren't familiar with some of the transitions and changes that Microsoft has made over the past, I don't know how many years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years since they've switched from Windows 8 and 8.1 to Windows 10. Windows 10 is now a service, not like an iterative product that they come out with new versions of every year. Once you have Windows 10 on your device, you should get all the Windows 10 updates. You should always be up to date with the current version of Windows and everything like that.
Whether you like it or not.
Unless your device reaches its end of its supported lifetime, which has just recently happened for some devices. So there's a specific reason why this has happened, but the overall idea is a little bit scarier. We have to assume Microsoft isn't going to shoot itself in the foot too much by like end-of-lifing products based or like devices based on products that are common or whatever. Like, so basically, if you have a system built on Intel's Clover Trail Atom processors, those are low-cost, low-power processors. They were manufactured in devices between 2012 and 2015, not too long ago, but you're basically blocked from installing Windows 10 version 1703, which is the new Creators Update. You're stuck with the previous version or prior. And since each version of Windows 10 that comes out, such as the Creators Update, Windows is only supporting for 18 months, it means that your product that just lost its support with this previous version is only going to be supported for about another 18 months. A lot of these the systems that are based on Intel Clover Trail Atom processors shipped with Windows 8 and 8.1. So the people who got them and were using them got that, like, Windows 10 is coming, like, update to Windows 10 for free, all that whole nonsense. So like, oh yeah, I'm just going to update to Windows 10 and now I have it and now my device is all set. But if you happened to be the unfortunate owner of one of these devices, and you update it from Windows 8 or 8.1, Windows 8 and 8.1 have the what's known as the 5+5 support policy from Microsoft, which is 5 years of support for services and 5 additional years of support for security. So that means that you've gone from potentially having your device supported by Microsoft until 2023 to having support drop off 18 months from now, which is a lot earlier than that. Early 2018 is when your device support would drop off as well. Now, to be clear again, there is a specific reason why support is going away for these CPUs in particular. It's because these used a non-Intel GPU that was designed by Imagination Technologies, which means that it's just sort of throws a wrench in the driver support. So Microsoft, for their side, is saying, like, you know, the resources that would be required to providing continuous updates for this particular subset of hardware isn't worth it, or whatever like that. So yeah, there's also potentially going to be updates from some devices based on this. They specifically referenced Acer in the article. They have a note with their units that are supported by this with the different Atom processors, and they said that they're going to potentially provide compatible drivers to address this incompatibility, but that was like 7 months ago, so who knows if that's actually going to happen. So just something to keep in mind is that your Windows 10 might not last forever if Microsoft decides to stop supporting your hardware.
Are most of these processors found in laptops?
Yeah, so these are Atom processors, so like laptops, netbooks, that kind of thing, tablets perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're worried that, like, oh, I have like a Sandy Bridge processor or like something like that, is Microsoft going to suddenly decide Sandy Bridge is no longer supported or something like that? Potentially years down the road, but they're not going to take something that has a massive install base and suddenly say that they're not supporting it again. Like this is almost absolutely for sure because of the graphics.
The iGPU?
The integrated graphics that's part of this SoC. So, as a result, this set of products is losing support. So anyway, it really sucks if you use those products, and it really sucks if you look at it sort of from a larger perspective as far as Microsoft support for devices going on down the road. I wouldn't say run for the hills and like Microsoft is going to start, you know, dropping a lot of stuff, but
it's definitely something to consider if you're looking into buying a laptop from here on out. Like if the integrated graphics is not natively from Intel,
well, if
or
you're
something
considering
like that.
anything that's like non-mainstream, if it's like, oh, here's this, like it's got a, I don't know. I don't have good. All of my good examples would be on the cell phone side because that's where you find a lot of, like, you know, chip manufacturers that you've never heard of before. At least on the
just some like third-party integration that seems a little far removed from.
Yeah, well, because Microsoft, I mean, they have to do the development work and help support that as they do updates. If they decide to change something with how the UI works, did I say Microsoft? Yeah, they decide to change something with how the UI works, they need to make sure that that is going to function across any hardware that it might be installed on.
Right.
So by end-of-lifing certain hardware, it means they don't have to worry about that anymore, so saves them man-hours when it comes to development.
Yeah.
From my understanding.
That makes sense.
Okay, let's move into Swordfight.
Swordfight!
Hooray, we have one single Swordfight question to answer today. It's kind of based on that robot article with the robot that committed suicide. Swordfight, if you guys aren't familiar with it,
is suicide worth it?
I wasn't going quite that dark.
That's the next video from our friend Austin Evans.
Yeah.
Suicide. Suicide, is it worth it?
It's like, man, once you've reached the height of YouTube fame, then you realize it's like it's all just empty.
It's so dark.
That is dark.
It's super dark.
It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that video.
So the question we're going to answer right now is because that's like a robot that's kind of doing work and stuff, right? And I've always imagined, like in the Jetsons, that people will have assistant robots. But maybe people shouldn't have assistant robots. Robots that just help us do things, right? They're getting fancier and fancier. So in a generic sort of way, but obviously also finally and forevermore, we're going to decide, should people have personal assistant robots? I know this is something you've given a lot of thought to in the past.
Every
We have
day.
2 options. Yes,
Every
that
day.
we deserve to have robot assistants, or that no, people are lazy enough already, and of course they'll all end up turning on us anyway.
I'm gonna go with my gut instinct here, instead of playing devil's advocate, and say no, people are already lazy enough, plus the robots will inevitably destroy us all, and you know, our digital overlords will one day... I mean, we've all seen Terminator. We know how Skynet works. We know that it is not just a movie, but a premonition. A warning to all of us that we have to be on our guard. Humans must maintain the status quo, and we cannot be overtaken by stupid robots. Plus, we're lazy. Back to that. I mean, we already have weird things like the Amazon Alexa thing, which I still think is just kind of weird. Like all of a sudden you have this new family member that you bought on Amazon. It just... I know I might be sounding like an old person right now to like the earlier or the newer generation and stuff like that. But I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but I think that
You're old-fashioned.
I've seen the movie WALL-E. I know how that goes.
Oh yeah, WALL-E.
Human race, when they get super lazy, they're just floating around on these floating tubes, which look really fun, I will admit.
Stark,
they look
dystopian future.
Incredibly fun, but to actually live on them, I feel like there is a point where you have to kind of think to use technology responsibly. I feel like technology is like a gun. You know, so many people are against guns and gun violence and gun control. It's like, yeah, and then it's like you go back to that argument. Guns don't kill people, you know, people kill people with guns. I mean, it's like technology. Like, technology can be used for good or evil, and everywhere in between. I personally think that having robotic assistance is, for something like disabled people, you know, maybe some war veterans or who need the extra help, who live alone, something like that, great. But if you're like a fully functional human being, like, no. It's like having a really badass PC and, like, building another PC to help that already fast PC run faster. If that was a thing.
I do that all the time.
Which seems gratuitous. Seems gratuitous and very American.
All right, well, that's interesting that you should phrase it that way, but let me explain why you're wrong.
Okay.
Kyle.
All right.
Always have been. So, all right, here. First off, when it comes to personal robot assistants, I'm in favor of them. I'm in favor of robots in general. The way I look at it is like automation, right? That's what's coming. Automation, and robots will be part of that automation, and robots are going to be handling a lot of jobs that people did before. So people are going to lose their jobs. So people aren't going to have work to do anymore, which means that people are going to need robot assistants in order to help them occupy their time, as well as to help do things that might otherwise cost some money so that they can save money because they don't have jobs anymore. This all makes perfect sense. The other thing is that obviously, as indicated in the question, eventually these robots will evolve, take over, and you know, predator will become prey, all that kind of thing. In my personal opinion, the safest way to go about making that transition, which is inevitable and obviously we can't do anything about, is to make sure that there's no time in the past that you can look back on that the robots, when they have their machines working on looking at the history of everything that's been uploaded to the internet, that you've never said anything negative about robots, which is why I like robots. They're good, and everyone should have a robot friend.
You're full of shit.
All right, let's see what people think.
The bots are smart enough to figure out your bullshit. They'll see right through you. Look at that.
Kyle
Very
wins.
close, actually.
This is neck and neck.
By a slight margin.
This is within 5 votes.
Wow.
We should just sit and watch this. The rest of the show, we should just watch this.
This is
go back and
riveting.
forth. We're at 39%. We're tied.
Oh boy. Nope.
Tied.
I have 3 more votes than you.
Nope,
2 more
2
votes.
more votes.
Two
Come
more
on.
votes. No, come
2
on.
more yes
Come
votes.
on.
One.
No. I just want to. See, I will always be like 1 or 2 votes ahead.
No.
That's just, look at that.
Wait, I didn't
pulling
vote.
way far ahead.
I didn't vote yet. No, it's still.
We don't get to vote. We get to argue the voting,
Right.
the argument.
Well, the straw poll is linked in the video's description. If anyone is watching this in the future and wants to vote on that, it will affect
Vote for
nothing, but it might fill the empty void of your existence for just a few brief, fleeting seconds.
Or at least your existence, Paul.
Yeah, it'll make me feel important. Okay.
See, that's one thing the
all.
robots can't do for you.
That's right. Oh, they can. There's going to be a
A hand job
robot
robot.
Well, that too. I mean, hopefully we'll have robots that can do lots of different things, but the one that just compliments you all the time.
Oh no, it's using the blender arm! Shit, no, fuck! Wrong arm!
Yeah, that's why if you're smart, you're going into software development.
Every robot needs a safe word.
I'm not smart. Alright, let's finish off my half of the show with just a quick little finisher. Which is news, of course. Tech news. I've already discussed quite a bit of tech news, but we're going to talk about Etherium.
Ethereum?
Yes.
So ethereal.
Where'd my story go?
An ethereal
Hold on.
cryptocurrency.
It's gone. Give me just a second.
Ethereum. What a
Oh,
cool
wait,
sounding
that's the
name.
wrong- that's the wrong story.
Just sounds cool. Just the sound of it, when you hear it, makes you want to mine it.
Okay, wait, Kyle, aren't you talking about this on your half too?
A little bit.
A little bit on Ethereum. Alright,
A
so
wee bit.
Ethereum price has gone way down. But not entirely. So
It's going up and down.
yeah. Used GPUs, though, are also becoming a little bit more available, which is pretty cool. This article on hardware discusses several of those things, but let's just go directly to eBay, shall we?
Do it.
Look at this. Look at this. The RX 470. Stop it. Stop it, eBay. For $130.
Yay, that's what I'm talking about.
Right there. Buy it now.
That's what I'm talking about. Free
Buy
shipping, too.
A 470 right now for $130. What about
Another one, for the one below it's only 120.
What about a 580? Let's look up the 580.
Look
at this.
$33. Bid on that shit.
What? Is there something wrong with this?
No, it's just the
Are people
bid.
just liquidating them right now?
I think the bid, like, there's
buy it
probably
now.
just more time.
Oh, it was an auction. That's why.
Yeah.
Buy. Look at that. RX 580, $190.
Still pretty
that's
good
the
for
4
an
gig.
8.
Actually,
Oh, it's
yeah,
4
that's
gig.
the 4 gig. So that's kind of where it should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because, you know, these people probably bought these cards before, or at least at the very start of the mining craze, where the cards maybe hadn't inflated an insane amount just yet, so they're probably able to sell them back to closer to retail price, I would think.
Yeah, I mean these
Apparently.
look kind of legit. So
Yeah.
man, sold listings.
I wonder how many of these cards are from the same guy. Like Gigabyte Radeon
Same
RX 580, Gigabyte Radeon RX 580. Like,
Oh, these are listings that have ended.
apparently the word is out.
Are they recent though? All right. Well, anyway. Point is that Ethereum has been a little shaky recently, and in fact, just over the last weekend, after hitting the $400 high that it hit in June, it was around $184 on Friday. It dropped down below $150 on Sunday. It actually got as low as $130. But today, my goodness, today, look, it bounced back. So low point today was $182, $183. Peaked just actually a couple hours ago, I think.
Boom!
At $267.99. And then it dropped all the way back down to $240. It's on its way back up. So yeah, it seems to bounce back a little bit. All this is to say, you know, if you have been waiting to buy a graphics card, you might need to wait a little bit longer, since we were looking at finished auctions there and not auctions that are on right now. But their prices do seem to be coming down. The difficulty of mining has gone up. So the prospect of telling someone like, hey, buy these 2 graphics cards, mine with them for a month or 2 months, you'll pay for the graphics card, and then you'll start making profit. It's just becoming less viable of an option. People who have graphics cards already and are mining with them, like, keep mining, you know, do what you do. But because of the increased difficulty, and earlier today, because of the drop in price, we're not sure how this is going to work out, if it's going to go back below $200 again or anything. Obviously, it is one of those things that changes based on how many coins are being mined in the marketplace and all that, and speculation. Also changes on stuff like a $7 million Ethereum heist.
This was crazy.
Look at that. Coindash. So Coindash, I don't know what Coindash is. I think I don't really know what Coindash was supposed to... I don't know if it's a new type of cryptocurrency, but they had what is equivalent of an IPO, the initial coin offering, the ICO. So I think this is a new cryptocurrency. Yeah. Coindash. But anyway, the people who in charge of Coindash had a website. They put their Ethereum address on their website and said, investors, start sending Ethereum. Our ICO is open. You can invest right now and give us Ethereum, and then you'll get you're basically buying this currency. But hackers hacked it, replaced the address with their own, and basically got about $7 million worth of Ethereum over the course of a very short period of time. And actually, that was $7 million when this article was written, which was well, actually that was earlier today.
So it's worth more than that.
But by the end of today, it's probably worth even more. I would put it somewhere between $8 and $10 million worth.
Damn.
In fact, there's people on Reddit. There's a Reddit thread about this linked in the article, and the people on Reddit are saying like it looks like an inside job, which seems like, I mean, who knows? Could be. But yeah, the website posted a statement. It is unfortunate for us to announce that we have suffered a hacking attack during our token sale event. During the attack, $7 million were stolen by a currently unknown perpetrator. Basically, people who sent Ethereum to that fraudulent email address are shit out of luck.
Damn.
And yeah, transactions sent to any fraudulent address after our website was shut down will not be compensated. Oh, so after the website was shut down, so maybe they're working on something for the people who were duped in some way, because obviously you don't want to piss off all your potential investors.
Right. What a nightmare.
That's pretty crazy. That's not how you want to start off.
Unless you're a hacker.
It's not how you want your ICO to go.
No.
All right.
Yikes.
The Atari box has a little bit more information on it. Not a lot. We talked about this briefly, so there are a couple more pictures if you guys are interested. Atari is saying that this is a retro gaming console that will be able to play both retro and current games.
What?
And
what does that mean?
It's not really 100% sure
Current.
What that means. But the pictures themselves, you can actually make out some of the connection points at least. It's got 4 USB ports, as well as a SD card slot reader, an HDMI output, and an Ethernet port on the back. And according to the article on Legit Reviews, Forbes actually also covered this, and they said they think this is going to be something along the lines of the Ouya that will be able to run current gen game apps thanks to packing something like an Android operating system or a Windows micro console inside. So it'll have some sort of emulator for Atari games, but then also be able to play, Android-based games, or perhaps Atari will make something like a small marketplace where they can develop new games for it or something like that. Who knows? But that's a thing.
Cool.
Now you guys know more about it. Alright, we talked about this also last week, but I wanted to follow up on the VRM thing for X299 motherboards. Der Bauer, who is a well-known overclocker, threw out some critiques against a lot of the motherboard manufacturers for their cooling on VRMs and some of the VRM configurations on X299 motherboards, and especially when overclocking the chips with specific settings lined up. They could get extremely warm, and it was depending on how you were testing things, it was a question of whether the CPU or the VRMs was going to be what overheated and throttled your overclock first. Asus has been designing and recently redesigned the Rampage 6 Apex, which you can kind of see the heatsink for right here. So the Apex, basically, they have improved the cooling on by redesigning the VRM cooling block and adding what are known as fins. Stacks of fins for increased surface area.
Effective. Highly effective.
Apparently it's something that manufacturers used to know how to do, but kind of forgot how to do, or something like that. There's a lot of criticism as far as like going more for aesthetics versus practical actual dissipation of heat and that kind of thing with these types of boards. This is a very skewed picture, by the way. This board is not quite this wide. It's a little bit skinnier, but
damn.
But yeah, you can see the heatsink up here, and this is actually the original version where you can see that didn't have that design. So it's just more like a single contiguous block of aluminum or whatever is going on in there for the material that's being used. So they worked with their buyer directly on this. They collaborated for with his input. He was like, hey, more surface area physics. And he has video up on it, which is linked in this article, so you guys can check that out too if you want. Yeah.
Now there's going to be like some Asus assassin trying to like hunt down DeBauer.
Well, no, they worked with him. They collaborated. Or perhaps, unless they were setting him up for the assassin, they were luring him in to gain his confidence. That's probably more
positive.
likely.
Positive that's what's going on.
I would assume that too.
Yep.
All right. That's all I have for my prepared materials for today. So let's quickly go in and see if we have any donation questions that were asked of us.
We do.
We do. We have several, so let's get through those.
First up, we've got Automatic Matt, who donated $10. Oh, this is Matt. A message from Cell. So he donated $10, but was on the phone, then forgot to grab it. I'm so sorry. Feels bad. Cell forgot to grab it? Oh, he probably missed the message or whatever.
Oh,
from Matt. So he saw that Matt donated, but he was on the phone with us, maybe, or someone else, so he forgot to actually input whatever message was attached to the donation. But either way, thank you very much, Matt, for your donation.
Thank you, Matt.
Always. Next we've got El Jefe Reviews, $5. Thanks for the shout-out last week on Pit My PC. Here's a beer on El Jefe. Cheers. Cheers to you, El Jefe.
Cheers.
I'm out of beer, so I can't cheers you. It's very sad. We've also got Mike Dudes for $5. No comment.
Mike Dudes.
Thanks, Mike Dudes.
Thank you, Mike.
Sebastian Krauthauser for $10. Another $10 for you guys starting a small game studio. So I really appreciate you, you hardware guys, giving me a good idea of what's coming.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That sounds like fun. A game studio. It sounds relaxing. It's a studio where you game.
Invite us once it's all done. I'll go. Scott Dilbeck, $6.66. I see what you did there.
Thank you, Scott.
Can't think of a random question this week, so Chug. Thanks, guys. Plus Kyle next week. Pet My PC. Hook a brother up already.
I don't want to chug because I'm doing all the drinking, so I'm going to say cheers, and I'll take a drink.
You have to cheers for both of us. Yeah, you have to drink. You have to chug for both of us.
You need more beer.
I'll replenish my beer very shortly.
Very soon.
David Brooks for the 20 Australian, maybe?
I believe Australian. Yeah.
No comment. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
David. Wittus K, 10 Canadian.
$10 Canadian. 10
Canadians. You guys have the best tech-oriented tech show ever.
No.
And you guys should definitely try Lech, one of the best beers ever for hot summer days that I know you guys have lots of.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal recently.
Yeah.
It's not like incredibly hot, just very consistently hot and actually more humid than it usually is here, which sucks.
Yeah.
But thank you for your 10 Canadian.
And yeah, that looks slow. That Lech, I just Googled it. I Googled it. It looks refreshing.
Oh.
It looks like a crisp, kind of looks like a Heineken almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's all green.
Good sipping beer. Next up, we've got Ronan.
Ronan 2300 DK with
70 DKK.
DKK again.
Danish.
Democratic. Danish krona.
Danish kronas.
We should think we would know this by now.
Hey guys, need to split, but here's a donation from the people of Denmark and a fellow techie. Keep up the good work. I still owe you a beer, Kyle. Yes, you do.
Prost.
I'm still waiting on it. Thanks, Ronan. Jeremy Volsch for the $20. Running a 1700X and would love to go Vega, but have a 1440 144 Hz G-Sync monitor. Shit out of luck, or would there be much difference? Oh, and split this with the bit, please.
You probably would want to stick with NVIDIA, honestly. Honestly, if you like your monitor, because you can't do G-Sync with a Vega card. You just can't. That's part of what they want to do when it comes to like G-Sync being proprietary, is they want to get you into that ecosystem, so you'll need to keep buying their graphics cards.
Yeah.
Which is intelligent to some degree. But yeah, if you've already got the monitor and you like your monitor and you're not planning on replacing it, I would say stick with NVIDIA. Consider something like a 1070, 1080, 1080 Ti.
Wait till, before you buy something, wait till Vega comes out, because if it's competitively performing alongside the GTX 1080, and who knows, NVIDIA might drop the price on the 1080 some.
Yeah,
you might get a better deal on it.
Or you might be in a situation where you can sell your G-Sync monitor and get a cheaper FreeSync monitor and use that with Vega.
Yeah.
That could be an option too.
Yep.
Okay.
One Supersaurus for $10. Hey guys, decided to get the Air 540, now running an R5 1600.
Nice.
Waiting for my cryo rig backplate to be able to overclock as high as I can. Also, Windows 10 is confused whether I need to activate it again.
If you've already activated Windows on a particular motherboard, it should automatically reactivate when you reinstall Windows 10 if you install the same version. Because when you activate, it does a, I forget what the type of key is called, but it burns up the key that you plug in, and it makes a new special hidden key that's tied to your hardware. But it should recognize your hardware and automatically activate Windows when you reinstall. If not, you might need to do phone activation or one of those options.
Yeah.
But just make sure if you do phone activation and they say how many systems has this copy of Windows been installed on, the answer is always one. Okay.
Biz Jones, $10. What is your take on Threadripper? Do you think the 12 core for $800 is a better value than the 16 core for $1,000? What's your take on it, and how much do you think the motherboards will be? I think it just boils down to how many cores you actually need for whatever it is you're doing. You know,
because there's a lot of stuff that isn't going to really do much with 16 cores right now.
Yeah,
that's just how it is. Because a lot of software isn't designed that way.
Yeah.
So 12 core might be something that's more for like a crossover where you need a little bit more frequency. You know, if you are going to like dabble in gaming as well or something like that. You know, Ryzen with a higher frequency and nice high frequency memory can do a pretty good job at that. And I would imagine the 12 core might overclock a little bit better.
Yeah,
potentially.
Just fewer cores. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would take a long hard look at the software you're planning on using, and maybe potentially wait until after launch so you can find out somehow somewhere how the software you're planning to use performs with these two processors.
Yeah.
Whether that $200 is worth it, because it doesn't seem like that much, like $200 more for 16 cores instead of 12, right?
Right. And that's a lot more threads
It should be $750 and $1,000.
Don't say that out loud.
Then it would
AMD might be watching.
Then it would be equally.
Don't give them any ideas. Terrible.
Okay.
How much I think the motherboards will be on the X399 boards? Probably in the same vein as X299.
Pretty much. You're going to be
high-end desktop platform.
You'll find a budget one for maybe 200 if you're lucky. Probably more like 220, 230 for the budget range. 250 to 300 is where your kind of good boards will sit. And then you'll have like really fancy boards that are more than that.
But thanks, Diz. Next up, we've got Larry. Larry Froling, $5. No comment. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the donation.
And then we've got Davy Chow for the $5. Got my A240G and the Corsair 570X in the mail today. Cannot wait to set it up, goof up, short my system with a reek, curl up in a bar, and finally cry.
Oh, that won't happen. Not with the
terrible.
With the A240G, well, you've messed with that. Was it easy to use?
It was very easy. Right? Yeah. It takes some time to set up and stuff because it's a full custom loop.
Yeah.
But no, the instructions are very clear.
Step by step.
Nothing really went wrong for me. So I'm pretty sure you can handle it, Davey. You got this. Got this,
watch
bro.
Watch Cal's video. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
Thank you for the plug, Paul.
Does it though?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. But you're not supposed to. Oh, you should. Oh, we were doing so well.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to ask.
Foiled again. Jonathan Mercado, $10. This show is lit, homies.
Yeah.
Hashtag first time live viewer.
Oh,
hey,
cool.
Welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
We appreciate your viewership. Welcome.
Eamon Connor. 10 Aussies. 10
Aussie bucks. I'll call them Aussie bucks. I have a budget box of a i5 6500, an RX 480, a 1TB SSHD with a 1080p 60Hz monitor. Which components or things should I upgrade first? The CPU to Ryzen 1600, graphics, M.2 SSD, or monitor to 1440p?
I kind of like your setup for right now. I don't think you're really in need of a big upgrade, so I might start looking at monitors. Because your monitor will give you a reason to upgrade the rest of the stuff. And you can handle a decent amount of stuff at 1440 right now.
Yeah.
And a 1440 monitor, if you're really not getting the frame rate you want at 1440, you can always just play at 1080 on. It scales perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So, I would look around at a monitor. And you got an SSHD too. That would probably be my secondary option. But an SSHD is going to give you a lot of the same responsiveness that you get with an SSD.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say monitor.
Yep, I agree. Turtle in Training, $10. Hey, guy. Just one of us. We don't know who that's directed to, but only one of us. I'm considering jumping into 1440p or 4K. I have a i7 4770K CPU at stock and was wondering if I upgraded to a 1080 Ti or Vega, will my CPU bottleneck the system? If so, will overclocking help the bottleneck? I honestly think that that's a fair pairing.
Yeah, you'd probably be mostly okay.
I mean, any bottleneck that might occur, it's not going to be detrimental to your gaming performance to invalidate how much you're spending on the graphics card. For example...
Yes, overclocking will help, though.
Yeah, of course. It's free performance, so you might as well do it as long as you have a decent cooling system on your CPU. And... Depending
on your 4770K, you should be able to get at least 4.5, 4.4, 4.5.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you can get 4.6, 4.7.
Below 1.4 volts, hopefully.
Yeah.
On a good chip.
Even less than that with the 4770K, actually.
I guess 1.3...
1325 is as high you want to go reasonably for something you want to leave there.
Okay.
If I recall correctly. I hope I'm recalling correctly.
It seems like so long ago, doesn't it?
I know.
So much has happened.
It's like barely 2 generations old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sebastian Casella for the 50 Rs. I just saw an NZXT power supply, the Hale 82 V2 700 watt bronze. Is it worth it, or should I go for another brand? Great show as always.
That's a very difficult question to answer without knowing the price.
Yeah.
Because it's perfectly fine power supply.
Right.
You know, it's not like crazy high end or anything. But how much does it cost? Damn it!
If it's $5, you should buy.
If it's like $40-50 US and it's in good shape, then it's probably an okay deal. If it's $20 or $30, then it's probably a good deal. If it's anything more than that, then probably not.
Yeah. Agreed. Next up, we've got Dmitry Gramozdin. It's 10 British pounds. Thank you very much. Let make some minor hates hate me. I've got 2 1080 Ti's and 5 1070s fully paid off and still mining at 25 GBP per day. Suck it, haters. He's sticking it to all the mining haters. Well, you know, do what you got to do, man. 25 GBP per day. That's like what, 30-35 bucks US, thereabouts.
Depends on the time of day and that kind of thing.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah,
that's not bad actually. I wonder how much.
I mean, if you got 5 1070s, then sure.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. Thank you very much, Dimitri. Joel Balsita, $5. Hey, I live in Roland. Where are your favorite places to eat there? Also, Aussie dollars are dollary dues.
Dollary dues.
Okay. We'll call them dollary dues then.
Favorite place to eat over there?
Ichi Ichi is really great for shabu shabu.
Ichi Ichi.
Which that didn't even sound like a real sentence that I just said right there. To people who have no idea what I'm talking about.
Ichi Ichi shabu shabu. Just making up stuff.
If you like dim sum.
What's a pear Thai?
Oh, Ruin Pear.
Ruin Pear.
Ruin Pear Thai restaurant is
it's right by the IHOP.
Yeah.
It's like little hole in the wall, kind of like right off of Gale. And what, like Railroad? Kind of
Gale and Fullerton.
Yeah, Gale and Fullerton.
Yeah. That's one of the best Thai places.
Really good Thai food right there.
Dim sum. The dim sum there is really good if you want to go to a New Capital seafood restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's I mean, if you like Asian food, there's so many good options in Roland.
Yeah.
It's nice.
All over the place. That was a nice thing about working at Newegg. We had our pick of the litter of all the good Asian food at lunch.
Yeah. Bubble tea. What's that?
Half and half.
Yeah, the half and half.
Super good.
I actually don't like bubble tea, but half and half has like a milk. It's like a milk icy kind of drink. That's really tasty.
Ice milk, whatever.
Yeah,
that's
one of those.
Delicious.
That's yummy.
I'm getting hungry. Andrew Bird for the $10. Been watching since your Newegg days. Paul essentially helped me build my first computer, and now I'm about to begin a career as a network administrator.
Hey.
Thanks for what you do. That's awesome. Congrats, man.
I assume I get a cut, like a small percentage of that.
Yeah, it's checks in the mail and all.
That's how that works.
Yep. Matthew Garcia, $10 is the last one. Hey guys, love the show. Because of you, I was able to build my PC with no problems. How does one ship beer to you guys to enjoy the show?
Pack it carefully.
Yes.
Lots of wrapping of bubble wrap and stuff like that. And then you can ship it to either of our P.O. boxes, and both of our P.O. boxes are listed in the video's description.
Of our YouTube page.
Mine is down in my description too. It's P.O. Box 4325, Diamond Bar, California, 91765.
Yep, and mine's P.O. Box 1449, La Mirada, California, 90638. 90638.
I'm sure they got that.
90638. Yep.
Just looking at Hal's description.
Yeah, just looking at the description.
That's probably the better way to do it.
I haven't memorized it.
We did have one last final one that jumped in there. David Brooks, $10 Australian. Yeah, with the dollar dues. You need more beers. Not cool, guys. First time live viewer, but I'm always watching your channel. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
We will be getting more beers right now.
Yes, we
Thanks
will.
you guys if you're watching. If
Welcome
you're live,
to the show.
we love you. You're awesome. If you're watching in the future, hit the thumbs up button on the video and leave us a comment down in the comment section.
Johnson's.
Ah,
really
Johnson's.
quick.
I was rolling right through to the end.
I know. I had to stop. I didn't want to stop you.
No, thank you though.
I had to.
You did need to.
Let me see if I have any.
Come
Check the
on.
emails.
I have a few actually. Oh, I have like 6 or 7.
Oh, nice.
All right, Matt. Matt from Michigan. Thank you, Matt.
Matty
Got
Matt.
an English pub glass. Thank you. Zachary from Arizona also got the pub glass. 4 glasses. The 4 glass set of pub glasses. Thank you. Preston from Ohio got also a pub glass. Man, I love these pub glasses. They're really good glasses.
They are. They're solid.
Still using these. They're going strong.
all the time.
Daniel from Oregon got the Thumbscrew Black t-shirt. Thank you so much, Daniel. Johnson. I'm not saying Johnson enough. Johnson, all you guys. Pedro. Big Pedro Johnson for you.
Big Pedro Johnson.
Big Pedro Johnson from New Jersey. From Jersey. Got a mug, a pub glass, and a Thumbscrew shirt. And finally, a Johnson for Aaron from Texas. Got Thumbscrew shirt as well as 2 English pub glasses.
Texas.
Good old.
You can cue me, Paul, if you happen to hear me list a name that deserves a double Johnson.
I'll try to double Johnson it up.
We've got one from Kaylee
Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. We got a BIOS Flasher shirt and an Evolution shirt. Thank you very much, Kaylee. We've also got one from Marcus Aurelius. Bitwit, you bought some glasses. Thank you very much for picking up the glass. The ones that are larger than this one. This was a stupid small one. I don't have a size complex or anything. Robert, thank you very much, Robert, for picking up a Stay Positive Tri-Blend shirt. Johnson to you, Roberto, and Preston.
Double Johnson.
Double Johnson Preston. Picking up Words in a Circle, pint glass, more glasses being bought up left, right. Zachary for picking up
Double Johnson, Zach.
More glasses. Thank you, Zachary. Then Pedro Double Johnson.
Pedro Double Johnson.
Yeah. You know what? You get a quadruple Johnson, Pedro.
Quad John.
Pedro's an awesome name. You picked up some more glasses and a shirt. That's super cool. You can drink while you stay unnaked. And then Daniel, thank you very much for picking up an Evolution shirt.
I think Daniel might be. Yeah, Daniel's also Double Johnson.
Double Johnson for Daniel. And then Aaron.
Aaron's Double Johnson.
Aaron Double Johnson for picking up 2 shirts and some glasses. Thank you very much, everybody.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
All right. All the things we said before, thumbs ups. Love you guys. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Kyle's video link is in this video's description, so we'll see you soon.
I'm going to get more beer.